Good morning, everybody. There has been excellent presentation that have already introduced this concept of resource efficient cities that we believe in UNEP and in overall UN agencies could be really a driver for change if we want to go to sustainable development. It could be a wonderful practical regional scale to see how we can handle those issues. So I'll try to see how far we can go. Why is it so important to focus on cities? We all know that cities have been perceived for a long time until now as really part of the problem because of the pressure they put on the resources. Even though they occupy a very small piece of the Earth's surface, 3% of the land surface only, we do have 50% of the global waste, and they are increasing greenhouse gas emissions. The population now is about 50%, but it will go up to 80% in Latin America. It's foreseen in 2030 to go to more than 90%, and we have 75% of natural resources consumed in cities. But if we look more carefully on that and we improve our knowledge and we bridge with science knowledge, we will understand very easily that cities can really be part of the solution, if not be the solution, simply because all our economic activities are around cities and in cities, and there are huge potential for saving, would it be on energy, on water, or on recycling of waste, on food management, and so on. So those opportunities that do exist, we see them through a sustainable consumption production patterns change and resource efficiency. That could be a very good business case for all the actors. Just some figures that you can keep in mind are very easy to retain, how we can move from the problem to the solution. In around 2050, it could be 40, 60. I mean, the issue is not here, the exact date, but the amplitude, how important it is. If you look at the scale, we'll be having by the time 3/4 of the population, 3/4 of the resource use, 3/4 of the CO2 emission, and 3/4 of the waste in cities. So just by keeping this magnitude, it gives you the importance of how a solution at this level can have tremendous impact all over the world. And on top of that, in order to be able to do that, in fact, we have to keep in mind that cities are and have always been a hub for education, for culture, where innovation comes in, where investments are made, and where we can have this wonderful public-private partnership between the stakeholders. So I won't say we can end the presentation here, but it becomes very clear that there could be no solution without cities and at the city level if we want to go towards sustainable development. At our level, the way we have been looking at it is really trying to see for the opportunities. How are we managing our lifestyles? How are we behaving? How can we make cities to become really not just to work there, but to have a livable area? How families can be set there, and look at all the resources we are using. Management of water demand has been completely neglected in almost all cities, would it be developed or developing. If you take the example of the cities around the Mediterranean area, would it be from Southern Europe or Northern Africa, in almost all cities, water is wasted between 30 and 60% simply by mismanagement. The same for energy efficiency in buildings. There are so many huge opportunities that we are missing completely just because either people don't know how to do it, don't know how to get the credit, don't know that technology exists, and they are reluctant in changing their behavior because they don't believe that it is so important. The same, of course, comes to transport and so on. And when you look at the procurement, when you consider how many public buildings are under the management of the mayor, would it be for schools, for public buildings, and so on, and how much we can do in just by changing our procurement attitude, the saving we can do. And at the end, the waste issue, the city is a really fantastic mine, I would say a gold mine if you look at the waste issue, how you can handle that. And if we go to this opportunity, this brings us to this important notion of decoupling. Decoupling in cities, decoupling meaning doing more with less, ensuring that the economic growth, the economic development is decoupled from environmental impact on resource use. So you can do the same, you can get better results by having less environmental impact, by using less resources through innovation, and this is an extremely important element. UNEP has been working in this context by focusing first on buildings, because this was really the low-hanging fruits, and we have launched 6 years ago the Sustainable Building and Climate Initiative that have demonstrated the potential there of savings. Then, of course, we had to put the buildings in their natural environment, which are cities, in order not to look only at individual buildings, but as also complex of building, different type of buildings, and inserting there the consumption patterns and efficiency with government officials, with the private, with the civil society, and with individuals. But you can only convince all these people, all these actors, if you bring the economic aspect of it. Everybody will then, at the end of the day, worry, okay, how much it will cost me, how much it will save, and so on. And this activity that we are doing in the context of green economy help us to identify what are the benefits, what are the type of incentives we can put there on the table. And we have been fortunate recently in getting in Rio the adoption of what we call the 10-year framework of program on sustainable consumption and production. So we have a global mandate adopted and just confirmed by the General Assembly to be adopted in detail in the next couple of months, where there is a program on sustainable building and construction, and there will be also a program on cities. So we do have a global mandate to move ahead on that, and all the work will be done in close cooperation with other UN agencies. So, as we said, we have to work with different actors and at different levels. So we have to consider how we can help city leaders and other partners, but also, as we are an intergovernmental organization, looking at the different ministries also, because we need to provide the policy framework. So we need to look at the overall system and the policies to promote sustainable buildings and all the components, how to bring the right knowledge about how to decouple resource use from environmental impact, economic growth, and we have the International Resource Panel that help us very much on that. Bring the aspect of economy, what are the investment, what are the benefits, what are the costs of inaction, and ensure that it's really a multi-stakeholder approach. That brings us to the initiative that we have launched in Rio recently, that we have been working for during this year, that we call the Global Initiative for Resource Efficient Cities. We are not here talking about urban planning and management. This we leave it to other agencies working on that, but trying to see how really by looking at the resources that are used in the city, how we can improve efficiency, what are the benefits that we can all get from there, and how this can help not only the mayor, but also the government in their planning and the citizen in improving their life. So this will be trying to see how we assess the cities, link the partners between themselves, because the mayors doesn't know in general how to work with the business sector, neither ministers, by the way. We have to use our bridging power, our platform, to put all these people together, try to see how we coordinate and support them in the development and targets, goals and targets, and provide access to expertise, the expertise that is known, that is available all around the world. People don't know about it, are not informed about it, and they don't have access to it. And this will, of course, bring us to access to funding. Briefly, schematically, how we present it, we look at the city as an input-output to economic matrix, where you have to look at the inputs, which are basically the material, the product, water, energy, and food that come in the city. The arrows here, even if they look like classical, they are large at the beginning because it shows the large quantity. They become narrow because that's where we dream that we will have less material, less product, less water, less energy, and less food that come in the city, assuming that we will be improving efficiency in the city, and that we will be managing much better the resources we have, ensuring that we have a proper recycling of the city, the urban meaning of the city, in the city, reduce, reuse, recycle, and we can put on material, on products, on water and energy and food, and they use such potential there that can help us really improve the management of the city, so that at the end we will have less emissions going out from the city. Would it be solid? Would it be pollution? Would it be liquid, and so on? If we manage better this flow of resources, ensuring that really the city becomes what they call in Chinese a good circular economy, would be a tremendous contribution to sustainable development. How we'll be working in this GIREC, Global Initiative for Resource Efficient Cities. You've seen, I've been repeating it. We need to understand our knowledge about resource flows and the assessment, provide the information for decision maker, but also look really throughout the supply chain and life cycle management in order to hopefully at the end try to have a city resource footprint. So an ambitious research agenda that we have to do, of course, with all the partners, and this additional knowledge will help us to prepare an enabling framework to provide support to the national governments, to the cities decision makers, provide them with the technical expertise they are missing, inform them about the tools, the market incentives, and public-private partnership that exist in different countries and all around the world, and of course try to connect them together, because the best thing is for them to learn from other mayors, to learn from other countries, to learn from other cities, and if we can provide this mechanism, this platform through this initiative, it will be a very good contribution. And what we would like to see here is to develop what we call a city-to-city peer review process, where we can bring a certain number of cities with similar problems that will go to one city that is of need and try to see how together from their practical experience they can give them good advice. This will help us to identify a set of common indicators, as we have now the common carbon metrics in the building sector, but we would like to do the same in cities. A lot of work has been done elsewhere. We try to see how to have a more comprehensive approach and get to bring some value added to all what has been done, ensure that we can have this technical expertise and support available to the mayors and to the cities, make the good practices known everywhere, share the experience, and support the clear goals and targets from the countries. I'm getting close to the end. So we consider really green cities, and that's where the notion of economic aspect, the cost of inaction, the benefits, the opportunities are essential for a green economy. There are huge a lot of opportunities, but it cannot be done without the private sector. We tend to neglect the private sector, would it be from a government perspective or the mayor's perspective, as if they just have to follow. We need to associate them in our planning. We need to associate them in our design. They are the ones who promote innovation, so try to find a good incentive for that. Excellent opportunities that everybody knows about, but we are not really scaling it up, is in the building sector, renovating building, ensuring that retrofitting is really done everywhere, but also ensuring that new buildings are designed differently, more resource efficient, demonstrate that, enable and support the cities, in particular in developing countries, but not only, but mostly in developing countries. There's a lot of delegation, the issue of power, providing with the right knowledge and so on. Educate all the people throughout the supply chain, and ensure that the work on resource efficiency, sustainable consumption production, as they have been adopted in Rio, will be really, really well implemented with the support of all the governments, all the partners and cities. This will require definitely new policy, market instruments, and incentives on what we have to work. To conclude, we will need, at the city level, there are a certain number of key choices to be done, and this is the work that we are doing in close partnership in the context of the International Resource Panel. The sectors that are needed for the transition of cities to sustainability, looking at energy efficiency in the building, in cities area, but energy efficiency is really a low-hanging fruit. Waste management is a gold mine there, where we can improve the situation and make it economically very beneficial. Transport, water, and wastewater. So a lot of opportunities there. It's really, really good business for environment, good business and excellent for health, working on resource efficiency in city. But for that, we need to break the classical business as usual cycle and be ambitious and have the courage to move on. Otherwise, I think the whole humanity will just collapse through cities' mistakes. Otherwise, or we can just hope that we will make the right decision and look in the future by working properly at resource efficiency in cities. Thank you very much.